What does it mean to laugh all the way to the bank? Well, today we've got a marketing stud. I mean, this guy has been around the block. He knows what he's doing, and we're going to talk to him next. From the West Coast to the world, this is FBA Millionaires. Welcome to FBA Millionaires. This is the program that is geared toward helping you pursue your goal of earning a seven-figure income selling professionally on Amazon via Fulfillment by Amazon. Hi, my name is Jeff Allen, and as always, I am joined in Northern California by our own resident Amazon sales machine, Mr. Will Moffitt. Will, what is going on? What kind of trouble are you getting yourself into today?
Jeff, everything's going well on my side. It's sunny here in Northern California. We're making money, and I love to be on the podcast. We're here with somebody that I feel is very special in the Amazon industry, and I'm ready to get into it.
Well, you know, the guy that we have on today, and I'm going to let you, Will, do the honors, is somebody who is probably no stranger to people who are listening to our program. We know that there are some very valuable podcasts indeed out there, and a lot of folks listen to a number of shows. I know that you do, and this is really kind of where you got familiar with our guest today. And he is somebody who has a lot of experience in starting businesses and operating them, and talk about multiple streams of income. Talk about an expert in his field in the area of online marketing. Who do we have today?
It's Manny Coates. What's up, Manny? How's it going, man?
How's it going, guys? I am great, thank you.
I'm glad all is well. And so we're all here in California. You two are in Southern and I'm in Northern.
Well, that's all right, man. Spanning the globe and operating here from the Golden State, you can't get any better than being able to sit down here in your underwear doing a show from the land of milk and honey. It's great to be with you guys. And Manny, welcome aboard. You have that AmPM podcast, and you've been on now for how long on that show?
Gosh, we started that one right when I got into Amazon FBA, and that was almost 2 years ago. About just over a year and a half ago, decided to chronicle my journey with Amazon FBA. Started off, I think I said, I don't even remember anymore. I think I said I wanted to make $25,000 the first 90 days, and then $250,000 in sales the entire year, which would have been 2016, last year. And then, of course, we crushed through that, and it's, I've never looked back. It's just been kind of fun talking about it every week.
Well, when you do,
I heard that.
Yeah, wow. Right, Will? I mean, talk about setting some goals and achieving them. I mean, you wouldn't want to look back when you have that kind of success.
Talking about 10Xing it, Manny.
I know. And I met Will at, just by chance. We were at the same conference in Los Angeles. They were seating us around these big round tables, and we just happened to sit next to each other. He introduced his company. I introduced mine. And then from there, I've used his services. He's been on the podcast, and here we are now on a new one. So this is pretty cool.
Definitely. So, I met you at the Feet Advisor Conference. We've talked various occasions. I listen to your podcast and I love it. You guys head to AmPMPodcast.com. Check that out. So tell us, what are you into today? What's going on? Haven't heard from you in a while. Haven't talked to you in a while. So I want to catch up, see what's going on. I know you got Helium 10, the podcast. You're killing it on Amazon. Tell us what's up, Manny.
Well, we got a few things going on. I always feel like I've got to actually just last week and beginning of this week, we had some meetings, me and my business partner, Guy, and we're just like, you know what? We've got to start saying no. We can't keep saying yes to everything we want to do, because when we get together, we're idea factories, and we're like, let's do this, let's do that. And so we have a lot of things in the pipeline right now, but the things that are, obviously the things that are doing or keeping us busy and that are doing well, the podcast is a great vehicle to reach out to the masses. We have our Facebook group. You're in there, Will. We got, I think, about 26,000 Amazon sellers in our FBA High Rollers group on Facebook. Woo! So that keeps us busy trying to keep that going. Yeah. And then we have the Helium 10 software, which is awesome. And I mean, it's not something that we just put out there and say, hey, we've got these tools. I use these things every single day. We're using, the guys right now in the other room are using it right now for our product launches. We got some new Christmas stuff that is launching right now. And then we have a high-end event and a conference that we're doing in January. And that's for the Illuminati Mastermind live conference event. That's for guys that are already doing at least $10,000 per month. Most of the guys in the room are doing 7 figures, some of them 8 figures. I had one guy at the last event we did that did more in one day than I did in my entire first year. So it's just like, it's crazy, some of the success stories.
Hey, Manny, I wanted to jump in. When you've got people like that in your audience, and you know that they're earning 6 and 7 figures a year, and 6 figures sometimes in a month, and you're talking to these guys, do you ever wonder what it is that they're doing there? Do you ever learn anything from them?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the great things about this particular event. We wanted to make it all about networking. So we had lots of time between sessions so that after you heard somebody speak, you would have 15 minutes to go and talk to the speaker or talk to whoever it was. And then afterwards, it was these big network and socials and things like that. And yeah, you would sit there and you'd be having a beer with one of these guys that's, just looks like just a regular person, just like yourself. And then you're finding out, man, he just did $10 million or $12 million last year. And you start to find out when you're probing them and asking questions like, well, what's the difference? What are they doing? They're like, oh, we outsource all of this, or we do SOPs, or we're doing, this. It's usually not any small thing like, not like a little hack. It's more on the larger scale. Like, they say, well, there's only 24 hours in a day. I only want to work a maximum of 8 hours. So what do I do? So, if you only want to work so many hours and you have tons of things to do to scale that big, you've got to, for example, outsource stuff. And if you're going to outsource, you have to have systems in place, right? Otherwise, it's going to become a mess. So I learn a lot. Every time I talk to somebody, there's something really cool that they're doing, that I've never heard of. We just did an interview with a guy that sells used products on Amazon, and I think he does like $5 million a year or something selling used stuff. I never even considered that. So it's crazy.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I can't get my hand.
eBay when I think used, right?
Yeah, that's exactly garage sale.
Yeah, no, it's like through liquidation.com buying like pallets of stuff, where you get things for like 10 cents on the dollar, and the stuff is essentially new. It's just the box is open, so it's open box stuff. You got to sell it used. It's crazy. It's just, if you talk to somebody, there's that one aha moment, and you're like, oh my gosh, okay, the doors have opened. I'm gonna test that out.
What am I missing out on?
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's
right.
so many ways to go about it, and it all comes down to, how do you want to work? Do you, like you said, Manny, do you want to work 8 hours a day? Do you want to warehouse? Do you want to be shooting product from eBay to Amazon and all type of different channels? And it's what do you want? When I think about that, what first formed my vision on what I wanted was the 4-hour work week with Tim Ferriss. And I've said, you know what? I want to kick back. Private label.
Yeah. And you know what? It's one little thing that really triggers things. I mean, we're talking a big scale, right? We're going to, let's say, 8 figures, 10 million. That's a whole different thing. But like when I heard about Joe Lister, I didn't even know what Joe Lister was. Most people that are listening to this probably don't know. But it's a cool little service. I don't even know what it costs. I think it's like, I don't even know, under $20 a month or something like that. But we added that, and it just automates all your it imports everything, I guess, into eBay, and then it's from Amazon, and it automates the whole thing. So you don't do anything because Amazon still ships it. And that probably added, I don't even know what it is, some kind of probably 5 figures per year to our bottom line for about 15 minutes of work. And it was something that I heard someone talk about.
Now, hold on a minute. Let me jump in there. So Joe Lister, so what you're saying is it will automate essentially product listings from Amazon, transfer apparently that information to eBay. So if you're having trouble, if you need to clear something out of inventory on Amazon, you can sell that over on eBay. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. First of all, I have nothing to do with this tool. It's just something that we use. But yeah, the way it works essentially is it'll take your listings. It automates the process of creating all your listings on eBay. Like it just does it in seconds. And then when someone orders on eBay, it has nothing to do with you wanting to liquidate or anything.
Okay.
It literally takes all of your stuff over there. And then when someone buys through eBay, because a lot of people still will only buy through eBay, they won't go to Amazon for whatever reason.
Okay.
It then sends that order, basically gets drop shipped, I guess you could call it, from Amazon. So everything still gets billed and charged and through Amazon.
Okay.
Or through eBay, gets shipped through Amazon.
Got it.
So you still have all the order processing and everything on the Amazon side, but you'll be getting PayPal payments or whatever it is through the eBay system.
Nice.
So it's really cool. My brother actually set it up. I said, hey, let's add this. And with, the first day we started seeing some sales come in. They trickle in. There's not a lot. But if you make, $15 here, $10 here, by the end of the day, you've made an extra, $100, let's say. multiply that by 365 days, it adds up really quickly.
It sure does. It's just adding essentially another channel, and who wouldn't want that, especially when you've got the inventory that you're able to take and service through those channels. I think it's a great idea. We've got Manny Coates, by the way, on with us, FBA Millionaires, Will Moffitt and Jeff Allen. And I'm kind of still stuck on, one of the first things you talked about was just the fact that really you've only been working Amazon now really since 2015 and through FBA. And you had talked about you'd set this initial objective of $25,000 in 3 months, and you crushed that. And in your 6-month sales is just fabulous. What are you doing right now? What are you generating right now in terms of revenue on a monthly basis?
On a monthly, we just surpassed 2 million for this year on one account. So I think if I looked last week and the trailing 30 days so far was something like just shy of 250 something thousand. It's scaling up, as we get closer through, through Q4, it starts moving up. I think December, for example, will probably be a month where I would be shocked if we don't do 500,000 just in that 1 month.
Wow.
But yeah, that's where we're at right now. All private label. We don't do any kind of retail arbitrage or any of the other things that's out there. And this is just with one account. That doesn't include, any of the other businesses and services and things that we provide.
Wow, Will, that's amazing. He is crushing it.
This is a prime example of the FBA Millionaires, everyone. So tell us about this. When I first talked to you, you said you had a way to get people to the first page of their keyword. Mm-hmm. So everybody wants to get to the first page. I know one time I had a problem with being number 1 on the first page, and I said, give me the number 4 spot because I was getting attacked like hell. So, tell me a little bit about what you got going with Helium 10, how you get people to the first page, and we love to hear more about that.
Yeah, I think we should probably break this down into 2 components, because getting to page 1, and I'll talk about how we get there, that's one thing, right? You get up there, but once you're there and you have that organic visibility, right? Someone types in, LED candles or tactical flashlight or whatever it is that you're selling, and you're there, are you going to stick? Because I see it all the time. People post in our Facebook group and they're like, man, I got to page 1. I was at the top, but it only lasted for like 2 days, and boom, I just started dropping, and then I was off of page 1. And then when you investigate and you look at the listing, you start saying, well, yeah, you dropped off because for that specific keyword phrase, when you look at everybody that's around you, if let's say you were the number 2 spot, the guy on top of you and the other, let's say 14, 15 people below you, those guys have better pricing, or they have better images, or they have something that's better than what you're doing. Or maybe when you click into your product, your listing, the conversions are terrible because the rest of your photos are bad, or there's something going on that's just not working right. You don't have the reviews that you need, right? So getting your listing optimized and set up and looking perfect as you can anyways, that's the first thing you got to do before you even do any kind of launch. Once you have that going, you got to make sure that you're going to stick before they even click into your listing, make sure that your listing from the search results perspective can outsell everything else. Like when you're looking at, you know what, if I showed this to like 10 people right now and I showed them, what's above the fold, or what's showing on the page, let's say the top 4 listings or 5 listings, would they click into mine? And if not, why? You got to do some research, right? So you want to get to that point. Once you're there, then you're good, because you're going to be spending money. You got to do giveaways, and we're going to talk about that in order to get to that position. So there's capital investment, and then once you're there, you want to stick, because it sucks to get there and then fall off, the next day. Mm-hmm. So that's what you do with your listing. To get there, it's basic math essentially. It's an equation. It's sales velocity, where people purchased over a certain amount of days. In our case, our formula is for 8 days, and it's what we call the CPR formula. And basically, you're going to be giving away a certain number of units every single day for 8 days for a specific keyword phrase, and you're going to be using what we call a 2-step URL, or it's a storefront URL. Okay, and that means when someone clicks that particular link, wherever you're promoting it, whether it's through Facebook or using some launch service, or you've got an email list or SMS, text messages, whatever it is, however you're driving people through this link, it takes them to your storefront. Okay. And that's a little bit more complicated. And I have a video, if anybody's curious, we can't cover it all in this podcast because it's like a 45-minute video. You guys can watch that. It's free video. Check it out it's at helium10.com/CPR. But the gist of it is, they're going to see this your product on your storefront page. They click that, it brings them into the product, and when they buy, it's going to give credit for that sale to that particular keyword phrase that you used for that special link, I guess you could say.
Oh,
and
that's hot.
now if you get enough people to buy every single day, let's say it's 20 units a day for whatever your keyword phrase you're looking for, and you do that for about 8 days. Typically, it's about a week. We like to go 8 days just to be sure. Then you'll start seeing yourself jumping up the rankings for that keyword phrase, and almost every single time you'll be on page one, and typically at the top of page one. And the way to figure out how many units to give away, because that's the mystery. People go, well, okay, it's easy to create the URL. You show me in this video, the link I just gave you guys, you show us how to do that. But how do I know how many units to give away every single day? And when I say giveaway, we call them giveaways. It's not really a giveaway. You're selling products, right? But you're typically using coupon codes to discount a product. Let's say you're selling it for $19.95. You'll use coupon codes within Amazon to discount it to $3 or $5, whatever it is that you want to sell it for, so that people buy. Like, it's irresistible. I got to buy this thing. It's a $20 product and they're selling it for $2.50, right? That gets them to buy, and you get that sales velocity, and you want to get a certain number of units per day over those 8 days, and that'll get you ranking to the top of page one typically.
That's pretty cool. So can you use multiple keywords, or do you recommend one keyword?
I always suggest going after one main keyword. The keyword phrase has to be in your title. Okay, the title gets the most juice in terms of ranking. You don't want it in your bullet points. So whatever you're going after, it should be in the title. I say most people should do this. We don't do that. We'll go after multiple keywords because we know the system. We've got the budget to give away units. We'll have, let's say, 12,000 units of something, and we'll say, okay, we're planning on giving away 1,000 units at a loss. Okay, we're gonna sell them for $3 each to spread out over multiple keywords to get these ranked to the top. Because once we're at the top, we know organically we're gonna stick there forever. So we might take a hit, because if our landed cost, if the product's costing us $3 to manufacture, and it costs us, let's say, another $1 to get it to the US or to Amazon, and then you've got your FBA fees and everything. When you start adding everything up, let's just say you're up to $8 and you're selling it for $3, right? You're losing $5 per sale. So if you're giving away 1,000 units for this launch, you've essentially lost $5,000. Does that make sense? So if you have $5,000 lost, you're like, oh, that kind of sucks. Who wants to do that? But now I know that the next month I'm probably going to make $10,000 in profit, because I don't have to pay for pay-per-click. I don't have to do anything. I'm already at number 1 or number 2. And then the next month, it's another 10,000 or 12,000. Maybe it should keep going up. And it's profitable. All the big companies are doing this. They get up into the rank. They do some other things as well to get like bestseller badges and things like that. But the Cerebro, the CPR ranking method, which uses Cerebro, tells you the number of giveaways you have to give away. So if you use the tool, it's within Helium 10, and you type in, all you have to do, it's an ASIN, it's an ASIN tool, essentially, a reverse ASIN tool. So you'll put in an ASIN of your competitor, the person that has, or the company that has, I should say, the product listing that has the most reviews, okay, that's been around the longest, and you paste that into into Cerebro. It'll pull up, hopefully, just tons and tons of keywords, and at least hundreds of keywords, in many cases thousands of keyword phrases, and it will show you there. If this is a video podcast, I'd be able to show you this, but I could show you the actual number of units you have to give away total to rank to page 1, and the number of units you have to give away per day. That's the magic of it. So it does all the math for you, and
there's no guesswork. And because everything's done for you, you can worry about other things and take care of other business. That man right there is Manny Coates. We're talking a little bit about a product that his company has developed called Helium 10, and it's really all about helping you to rank as high as you possibly can on the first page there of Amazon. And it's all about the Benjamins to us. And really, this is a man who is killing it, and he has got a lot of skin in the game, and we're learning a lot, and we've got more to talk to Manny about when Will Moffitt and I, Jeff Allen, return when FBA Millionaires comes back right after this.
Getting the funding you need to grow your business can be challenging, but our friends at UpFund make it super easy. See how much you qualify for in 30 seconds and have your inventory funded in just days. Check out upfund.io to get started today. That's upfund.io.
You know, the first thing you need to do after listening to this program is to join the FBA Millionaires Club so you can stay connected with all that we're doing and all that we're talking about. Will and I, we've got a lot of great things in store for you. And the nice thing about it is it doesn't cost anything. You don't have to be a millionaire to join FBA Millionaires Club simply by going to FBAMillionaires.com and look for the links there. Sign up and be the first to find out all about upcoming shows, upcoming guests, guidance, tips, advice, all sent to your inbox free. That's FBAMillionaires.com, where you can sign up for the FBA Millionaires Club. My name is Jeff Allen, along with Will Moffitt, and our special guest today, Mr. Manny Coates.
Manny, so I have one more question for you here. And Jeff,
Sure.
by the way, I love you, man. You're so awesome.
Thank you, Will.
You're the man. So hey, Manny. So what about competitive niches and competitive markets? Let's just say I wanted to start a supplement brand and I wanted to start getting some like creatine or something like that. Do you recommend that with the of course you got to have the budget to give it away, but is that something that you would recommend getting into?
No. If you're starting out, you're saying, if you're just getting into this?
If you're starting out, or even if you're really experienced, is like, because number one, the access to get to page number one is there. Mm-hmm. But is there any cases where you may not want to be that number one spot? Yeah.
So if I would not ever recommend somebody get into a highly, highly competitive industry or niche, right? Because you're not going to show up anywhere. I mean, you're going to be dealing with guys that are pulling in potentially millions of dollars per month in sales. They know this system. They've got crews in place. They've got systems and software and all kinds of stuff. And you're just not going to be able to compete in most cases, right? I know a few people that are able to jump into stuff and they tend to dominate no matter what they're doing. But when you get into supplements specifically, there's a lot going on, right? You're going to be dealing with hyper aggressive sellers. A lot of these guys are overseas. There's a lot of shenanigans going on where they can actually affect your account. And I'm not saying that that's going to be in every supplement case. You can go out there and you can create, something for dogs, some kind of salmon oil or whatever. That's probably a bad example because it's probably highly competitive as well. But whatever it is, and as long as you really know what you're doing and you've got the budget to do the right giveaways to start ranking, then you should be okay. But if you're getting into something that's super highly competitive, you're going to find out that in order to get to page one, you got to be selling, 300 units a day or 500 units, or you got to give away, let's say 200-300 units a day in order to get those rankings. And it just becomes cost prohibitive to a lot of people. You know what I mean? It's like, it's better to take off for a weekend, go start walking through some stores, forget about even looking online, start looking through some stores and find stuff that's really interesting and cool. And then if you find something that's unique that you just haven't seen, then come back to Amazon and check. And there's a possibility it won't even be on Amazon yet, right? I mean, if you're searching for things on Amazon, they're on Amazon. But if you go to a store and you're like, wow, I've never seen something like this, then you can start sourcing for it, find it in China or wherever it is that you're going to be looking, and then get that thing, get a version of that online. And then you don't have that much competition and it's just easy sailing. It depends on how much money you want to make, but I've got products where I've spent very little time, no competition, essentially, almost no competition. And they generate, over $10,000 each in profit every single month.
I have a question, Manny, that is kind of a little bit more general as we kind of round out this edition of FBA Millionaires. And you, as someone who has found a tremendous success, obviously, in a very short space of time, as Will Moffitt has, what does it take? I mean, in addition to, higher page ranks and, you're selling these private label products, can you give us some quick takes as far as what you believe it really requires to be successful in this business? We've heard 2 million sellers, but maybe only 100,000 or so of them across the country are really killing it.
That's a good question. I would say, okay, first of all, you got to have the right personality, right? You can't be somebody that hits a failure or hits a wall and just says, you know what, I quit. If I were like that, I wouldn't be in this business, because the very first product I launched failed. Okay. And it failed in numerous different ways. And it was a passion product of mine. The second tip I would say, which I also failed in, is do a lot of research on products. And going back to what Will said, should somebody get into a competitive product? The product, my very first product, was competitive, but it was something I'm like, ooh, this is a really cool niche. This is a cool thing. I found a place I could source it, and because I was so excited about it, I didn't really pay attention to all the details. So do a lot of research on the products, find things that make sense, look at the analytics. It's very difficult, especially if you're starting out and you've got a 9-to-5 job and you're trying to get into this business, to have enough time to do everything. So I would recommend the use of tools. There's a lot of free stuff out there as well that you can use. But, if a tool can save you if it takes 2 minutes for a tool to do something that takes you 8 hours, then use that. Or hire a VA. You can hire people for $4, $5 an hour, that can do 8 hours of work for you. What's your time worth? So start thinking about scaling. Do a lot of, use those 8 hours a day to learn. That's the other thing, is I'd say learn as much as possible. Listen to podcasts like yours, talk to people, go to events, not just to hear people talking on stage, but to network, kind of break out of your shell and talk to people. If you see somebody that's interesting, get in there and start talking to them, because you'll learn a lot. I mean, we always say the deals and all the cool information is at the bar, right? After the event ends.
That's right.
Yeah. So those would be the things I'd say to do. Educate yourself. Try to automate as much as possible through services or tools or whatever it is. Don't be sending an email to every customer manually, right? You can use something like a Feedback Genius or whatever. There's a million services out there to automate all that. So spend a little money, and it's a business, right? I'm surprised constantly by how cheap some of the sellers are. They're like, you know what? I'm not going to spend $29 a month on this, and it's a business that they want to retire on. How do you do that?
Yes, exactly. If you open up a storefront, you're going to be paying tons of money, from insurance to supply to the actual overhead. I mean, it's ridiculous. And then when you look at Amazon, and people don't want to spend $1,000, or they don't want to give away product, you got to really reevaluate that.
You got to break out of that mindset. And even things like photography, I started off, and I took a photo with my phone, and it was pretty good. And I had a little bit of artistic background, so I was able to make it work, but it's not fantastic. It's not like hiring, a studio, somebody that has a really nice camera that has that depth of field, and those things can make or break your product. So, and that's not cheap to get a good, good photographer. It's not going to be $20 like on Fiverr or whatever. It's going to be a little bit more. So I would say invest a little bit in your product. Think about it. Start with a budget. Also, this is a killer. If you're going into this with, $1,000 to run your business, it becomes super difficult to do it, because you got to buy inventory. You got to have enough inventory to do some giveaways or promotions. And if it starts to take off, you've got to have your other order already placed. You got to have money to place that order. Otherwise, you're stocked out, right? You run out of inventory. Now you place your order. You got to wait a month or 2 months or whatever it is. And it's just a cycle that destroys you.
Exactly. Not to mention having to pay the FBA fees, and then the referral fees and all the other stuff that comes along with it. Yeah. And so you really do have to give that some serious consideration. Will, this was huge, man. And Manny, you've been terrific. And we know with pipes like yours, you really ought to have your own podcast.
I know. I'm working on it.
I'm probably the 15th guy who's cracked that joke in the last 30 days. But Manny, we really do appreciate it. All the best of luck and success to you and your business with everything that you're doing. And we hope that you'd be willing to join us again so we can continue our chat with you sometime in the future.
Sounds good. I would love that. Thank you guys for having me on the show. Appreciate it.
There he goes, Manny Coates. Yeah, Thank man. AmPM Podcast.com is the site to go to, and you're going to learn a lot from Manny. He's all over the internet. Look him up, and if you can get out to one of the events that he and his team host, you really need to take advantage of it. Will, great find again, Will, on your part.
Yep. And to add to that is very important, guys. Most of the things I've learned about Amazon, like Manny said, you learn at the bar where you're hanging out with friends. I've been to events where I've learned things that 10x'd my business because I've sat at the bar with somebody who's doing 20 million.
Well, it's like, Will, there's a reason, man. They put all those cocktail napkins there. It's not to set your drink on. It's for taking notes. I mean, that's what they are.
and get them drunk. Let them tell all.
Oh, no. Well, wait a minute. We can't actually tell people that, I don't think. But but I understand what you're saying. It could be drunk on Coca-Cola, whatever the case may be. But try not to put too much in there. But Will, no, seriously, what you say is absolutely true. You know, the people that you mix with, and I can say that I've only been to one summit event so far in my short little Amazon tenure career here, and I'm still in touch with some of the people that attended, and we're just swapping ideas back and forth. We've got a closed Facebook group, and it's just nice to stay connected, to learn of each other's successes, no matter how big or small they are, to stay encouraged and to bounce ideas off one another. And so really great suggestion on your part and on Manny's part. Well, it's too bad. It's unfortunate we have to wrap this thing up, but I really enjoyed myself, Will. Great job today on your part.
Yep. And if you guys want to get a discount on Helium 10, go ahead and go over to FBAMillionaires.com/Helium10. And I would love for you to try that out. I'm pretty sure you want to be on the first page. Everybody does. If it's not for the first place, or you want to be in the fourth place or sixth place, he can get you there. In addition, we want you to go to FBAMillionaires.com and sign up for the FBA Millionaires Club. Get in the game. Let's 10X it and crush it.
And don't forget also, too, that while you're out there bebopping around, you're listening to our podcast, you're over on iTunes, make sure you give us a rating. Show us a little love if you would. We would appreciate it. And by the way, you can also leave a comment there. Let us know how we're doing. If there's something that you would like us to cover, something that maybe we're covering too much of, if there is any kind of detailed information that maybe we're not passing along that you think would make our show more interesting or help you in particular with your Amazon business, there might be others out there who feel exactly the same way. So please leave your comments, questions, and give us a nice rating over on iTunes while you're over there. Will, it's been great. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much.
That's a wrap on this edition of FBA Millionaires. Jeff Allen, Will Moffitt, looking forward to seeing you again next time. Take care.
Let's go kill it, guys.